had another question for you. Um, what what has been one of the most surprising lessons or gifts that have emerged from through your the dating journey?
Yes, I think I touched on it before. I think the
Yeah,
most surprising gifts, I mean, the external gifts, I
yeah,
would say, are Chris, my
yeah,
friend, who's still my
yeah.
friend, and my boyfriend, Mark. And internally, I think the gift that I won't lose, that you won't lose, is that actually I built a very substantial understanding of dating in myself, which wouldn't scare me to go back to the field if I had to. And also the gift is that I now can share it with whoever wants to share it with me, and who's open
Mm.
to learning. So that's a wonderful gift too. Like I said in the beginning, I love, I think it gives meaning to my life and purpose to be able to share my lessons with others who want to learn it from me and with me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important to have that. I feel like what you're saying is that having that confidence within yourself, and so you're not coming
Mm.
to a relationship with neediness. I feel that that's super valuable. Yeah, yeah,
Yes, yes, yes,
yeah.
yes. Yes, that's a gift to bring that, isn't it? I wasn't always in that place, and
Mm,
I mean, I've worked myself out of a very insecure sort of, little girl, was lost in the world when I was younger, and I think similar. I think we share that, John. Yeah, like a continuous openness to learning and becoming the best we can be will eventually bring us to the place we are in now, and yes.
it's that beginner's mindset, I feel.
I love that. Yes,
Mm.
yes, that's
Just
right.
open to any, just open to exploring more about, who are you when, maybe you're out of your comfort zone a little bit.
Yes, yes, the beginner's mindset. I love that.
Mm.
Which is also a resilient mindset,
Yeah, it is.
That's
Yeah.
true. Which is
You
in
know,
opposition to people who know it all.
mm.
Oh, I've been there, I've been there. I've done it many years, and that is such a
Like a
closed
jacket. It's
position.
like a jacket. Just leave it at the entrance of the room or the restaurant.
Yes,
Just
yes,
put it on
yes,
a hanger and yeah, put it in the cloakroom.
yes. I
I got
totally
another
agree. Yeah.
question for you. Um, why do you think so many people struggle to stay grounded and hopeful in dating? And how does dating buddies help them offer meaningful support?
Yeah, yeah, that's a really good question. I've actually thought about this question very carefully, and
Okay.
um, I think it is so it's kind of understanding the field of dating because there's so many paradoxes inherent in it that we have to learn to navigate. Is why people find it hard to stay hopeful and grounded. Many people withdraw from the field. Yeah, I've met men and women who are saying, I'm done, I'm exhausted, I can't do it anymore. Many people become cynical. I know some people then say, actually, I'm done. I do myself. I don't need a partner anymore. Many people then become cynical and deny their need for connection. Which is uh, which is what happens to many. But to stay in the field, I think it requires an understanding of the paradoxes that I'm just outlining, a couple of paradoxes I've discovered or I've kind of articulated in my own mind, and to learn to navigate them. So the first one is, I'm sure you can relate, John, is we're in this dating field, we are we're looking for love, we're looking for the most important person in our lives, our soulmate. And so when we look for love, we want to stay. We want to keep our heart open and tender. So that's
Mm,
yet the field of dating is so harsh. It can be so harsh. So that's one of the paradoxes. It's
that's a
harsh.
big one.
Yes, yes. How do you do that? How do we do that? And there's ghosting, there's breadcrumbing. I mean, I often felt objectified as a woman. When people commenting on my looks or and I never responded to anyone who approached me who just commented on my looks, for example.
Mm,
you know, but also there's bad behavior. People I've been at the receiving end of disrespect and
It's probably a
aggression,
little harder for
in
women on
part.
that front. Yes.
Right. Yes.
And
Yes.
am I going to be safe
Yes.
with this man? And so I feel that that's a
Yes.
lot more
Yes.
consideration. I think it's a lot more difficult for women in that front than men. I don't think men will, go to a date, for example. Am I going to be safe with this woman? Whereas for women, I
Right.
feel it's
Yes.
completely different. Yeah, you know,
Yes. 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 So how do we navigate that paradox? Open heart on the one hand, harsh environment on the other.
yeah.
And so dating buddies will really work with that. I think, I mean, just to name a few, I think it requires self-awareness, very strong, healthy boundaries. If something feels off, it is off. Then we can
Mhm.
stop there. So that's one paradox. I mean, but also equally we need to engage enough to actually work the other person out. So we can't just cut things off constantly without giving someone a chance either. Sort of.
Sure.
It's how do we do that? So dating spot it will address that. And a second paradox, which is also really interesting, is we are looking for one person to love and be loved, yet we are faced with a supermarket of human beings. How do you
Yeah,
do that?
that's a nightmare.
Yes, yes. So there are hundreds and thousands of profiles, and we don't even know who is behind them. And so
Real.
that is another. Yes, that's another paradox to navigate. We're trying to manifest or find and connect with this one person who we can trust. Yet we are faced with a supermarket of human beings, and people swipe left and right, and that's requires a lot of self-awareness and skill and resilience, which dating bodies will help to support, to stay in the game with self-respect, but also respecting the other and having an understanding of this field of online dating and developing actually an inner compass. I think that's a good one. Developing an inner compass to move away from people that don't feel safe and right, and to create space for people that feel good and right. Yes.
Mhm.
So that's one paradox. I just briefly name some other challenges why people find it hard to stay in the field. Well, another one is that this field of dating is quite an intense energy field, and it taps into our deepest vulnerabilities and childhood wounds. Like it inevitably we feel insecure, we fear rejection and abandonment. Inevitably we will feel and
Huge.
fear that, and more
Unconsciously a
intensely
lot as
so.
well. Yeah.
Yes,
And I
yes,
feel the more
yes,
you can actually find like a group where you can actually express what you're feeling
yes, yes, yes,
and give it context, and the landscape becomes more like, okay, all right, I can process this. You know what I mean? It doesn't
yes,
feel so
yes,
confusing or abstract. I can actually name it as something, and so that can help me process it within myself. You know,
yes,
sign a more
yes,
empowering meeting, for example.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's a really good
Reframing was a
example.
big one for me, being able to reframe.
Reframing.
Yeah,
Totally.
not actually
Yes.
personal. That person's probably busy, or they have an avoidance paradigm that they're living, and so has a whole nother
Yes.
level of complexity for that person. So it's
Yes.
not easy
Yes.
for that person.
Yes.
They've probably gone through some sort of trauma, and I feel this comes back to your model about that self-compassion. When you can have compassion for yourself, you can then have compassion for maybe other how other people are showing up. What's going on for that person that makes them behave that way, because really,
Yes.
if they all looked
Yes.
into that mirror, they wouldn't be so happy with that either, I'm sure. So,
Yes. That's right. That's right. That's a really good reframing, which is working with our
yeah.
mindset and rewiring our brain and developing new patterns of thinking, which then, of course, have an impact on how we are feeling as well. exactly. And to actually be in a group of well-meaning, encouraging beings, that are actually on the same
It's
path
everything.
makes a hell of a lot of difference to our experience. Sense of belonging, that's, yeah. So that's how dating
And I
buddies
like the
will.
group dynamic as well.
As
You
well,
know why
yes.
one of the reasons why I
Yes.
like the group dynamic as well, because when someone's they're opening up and they're being vulnerable and they're going through their transformation, that transformation is felt by everyone. It's felt by
Yes.
everyone. When
Yes.
you have that safe container and a facilitator like yourself that sets safe boundaries, that has like rules that everyone respects, for the greater good of the connection of the group, then everyone feels safe to open
Yes.
up. And that transformation felt by everyone. Everyone gets to experience that. Because sometimes,
That's
for
true.
me anyway, when I was opening up, it felt too intense just to have this one-on-one
Mm.
conversation. It was kind of too much. I felt like I was exposed and was
Yes.
nowhere
Yes.
to go, kind of like I was back against the wall. Whereas the group dynamics is kind of like everyone's going through that same sort of thing and it lessens the intensity. At least that's what I found for me. So,
That's so true.
yeah.
That's a really good point you're making, John. That's having studied groups, and that's a big one. That there are certain dynamics and forces at work in a group. One of them is called universality. That we actually realize we are not alone struggling with this. Which is already a huge relief. But also, there's another one which is called resonance. When someone else is describing something that we also have felt, it allows that we can almost observe it from a third position and think, oh, that's me. But we are learning just as much from the other person's experience. And yes, yeah, so
It
that I
doesn't feel like
agree.
you're in
And
the hot seat, so to speak. You know what I mean?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And you can actually, yes, you can sit back and sometimes move in the foreground and sometimes stay in the background. And it's less intense and less maybe anxiety provoking. Yes,
Yeah.
and less exposing.
Yeah, and you can just sort
Yes,
of gradually
yes,
open up. Or some people are just like,
yes.
you know what, I'm there and I'm going to open up and I've made this commitment in my
Uh-huh.
mind already. And I was a little bit more cautious. And
Yes,
yeah, and it just as the group went on, then I felt more confident and comfortable to open up and share. So,
yes. That's
yeah.
nice. So everyone, some people are more shy, more introvert. They can take their time,
Yeah.
to come and to speak. Yes, absolutely. That's a really good point you're making. Thank you for sharing that. Really helpful.
Yeah, you're welcome. And so what do you hope people feel and experience or awaken to by being part of the program?
Yes, I mean, in a way, we've
Right,
already answered that question, haven't we? In a way,
right,
by
right,
talking about this,
right.
yes,
Yeah,
a sense of connectivity, hopefulness, possibility, learning,
yeah.
transformation, like
Trust.
support,
Yeah,
trust, yes, and trust and saying, yes, I can do this, and we
yeah.
can do this. And
Yeah, and trust of your
yes,
own inner guidance, right? Because a part of us knows what feels good and knows what should be
yes,
a flag, and learning to trust
yes,
that. Learning to trust that.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, learning to trust our own feelings. You're right, which is a big one. It's
Yeah.
when it feels off, it feels off. It normally is off. Yeah.
Right.
And
And so many times through different chapters that I've published and books where, the persons that said, I knew that this wasn't the right thing, but I went anyway because fear of being alone, fear of not being loved, fear of not being enough, fear of not being accepted. And I feel being in a group dynamics, especially with the model that you shared, you cover a lot of those dynamics anyway. And
yes, yes, yes,
that's really
yes.
what you need, is to learn
That's
to
true.
trust your
That's
inner
true.
guidance.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Because a lot
I
of
give
times
you
we're
actually an
not
example.
broken. A lot of times we're not broken. It's not a program to fix people, right? It's a program to support.
No.
And you learn more
Yes.
about how you're showing up and what you're attracting and taking responsibility for that. That's
That's
why I
true.
kind of got
Yes.
a sense of what it is.
People who will come in the program are often, very established people in their field or in their
Yes,
lives,
yeah,
and they're very
yeah,
mature, and it's
yes,
just learning in that specific circumstance and being supported in
yes.
that
And it's out
sense.
of the
Yes.
comfort zone a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
You're right. You're right. But that's a good point to check it out with someone. I give you a brief example from my experience. I was, when I really checked something out,
Hmm.
actually, it wasn't Chris, it was with another friend. I was chatting with a psychiatrist, interestingly, who I assumed was a safe guy, and he said, I actually can't really meet for quite a while because I'm doing my sort of qualifying exams right now. And so we were chatting, and again, he was in and out. There was already a bit of anxiety there, but there was a kind of a mutual kind of
Hmm.
attraction. So I kept it going for a while, and I shared quite a bit more. I noticed there wasn't so much coming back. And at some point, we agreed a date. He cancelled it, which wasn't so good. And then he said, "Why don't we meet again?" And given that we feel such a good vibe between us, I'd really like on the first date just to start cuddling already. And I thought sort of my red flag alarm signal went off. But because I was already invested a little bit, I, I,
Uh-huh.
I thought, well, let's think this through. It doesn't feel good. I don't think so. I thought that
Mm.
to myself. I don't think so. I wouldn't normally cuddle with a stranger, you know.
Yeah,
And then
right.
I called a friend, and you saying checking out with someone else, which
No,
normally I would say if I wasn't in the situation, I would say, of course not. But
no.
because I was already in it,
Mhm.
like something changes.
It's
And my
different.
friend said, stop it. That's not safe. He isn't,
Yeah.
he's not safe.
Yes.
And that helped me to just affirm what I already believed. And then I sent back, I said, look, I don't cuddle people I've met before, so it doesn't feel right to me. So I was able then to find my authentic, confident voice again and put it across. And then he drifted off anyway, so which was good. It was a
Mhm.
confirmation. But sometimes, even though we are emotionally intelligent, we just need someone else to say the same thing, the healthy thing, and then we can, yeah, we can easily voice it. But it's not so easy when
That's
you're
a really
totally
good
left in your
example.
own.
That's a really good
Yes,
example
yes.
because
Mm,
if a friend of yours would found herself in that situation, as you said, you'd be like, no, that is not safe. That's a flag.
mm,
It's
mm.
different when you're in it. It really is. It's,
It's
because we're
different when you're in it,
emotional
isn't it?
beings.
Yes,
It's
yes,
bizarre,
yes. And
fascinating
you
at
already
the
have,
same time.
yes,
No.
yes, because we shared a similar professional background, and there were some qualities that were
Mhm.
attractive to me. I had
Yes.
already invested something, so
Yes.
therefore I wasn't fully clearly thinking anymore. But
Mhm.
so yeah, so that's why dating buddies or a group like you're describing, it's
Yes.
it's good to check things out with,
Yes.
and yeah.
So do you have like a gentle message for maybe someone that's feeling a little exhausted from the whole online dating scene or the dating world, and then just like, you know what, it's not for me anymore, and it'll just happen
Right.
organically or something like that. Do you have any like gentle words for them or a message?
Some gentle words, right? Yes. So I think I would just say that feeling a bit deflated and exhausted and done is very
Happen.
natural and expected. It's natural and expected, and I really have felt like that many times. I think,
Mm,
but I think what I also would say is that we don't want to settle in that state. Like in that we don't. It's an emotional state. We get drawn into sometimes our own emotions might color our sense of hopefulness and possibility. So I think it's how do we move ourselves out of these states?
mm,
That's I think really interesting, and I think the way I move myself out of these states regularly is by actually really making not so much finding a partner my full purpose, but actually to enjoy journey, in a way,
Enjoy the
and fill
process.
my own cup along the way. Yeah. So I thought, okay, I feel a bit rubbish now. How do I love myself today? How do I
Mm.
love myself even better today than yesterday? How do I fulfill myself today? How do I fill my cup today? So I was focusing back on that. Uh, and that meant sometimes, like for example, I took up some tennis lessons. I wrote a chapter of a book for your
Yes,
publishing house.
yes.
So I joined a yoga, and I went for afternoon tea with some friends. So it's kind of I fulfilled myself,
Mhm.
and learned how to fulfill myself, which actually is very helpful when you're in a relationship as well, because the relationship can't always be fulfilling. So you have to fulfill yourself when maybe
Yes.
the other
And it's
person
too
isn't
much
there or
pressure
not
to put on the
available.
relationship.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
The other
yes.
person's always got to fulfill you. I mean, like, wow, that's
It's
challenging.
yes,
A lot of
yes,
pressure.
yes, yes.
Wow.
No
Yeah, if
pressure.
you can do that yourself and then, you're both doing that and you find that, the happy place in between. And basically,
Exactly,
it
exactly.
heightens it, doesn't it? And it accentuates that level of
Yes,
feeling because you're able to actually give that to yourself. You're not unconsciously putting that pressure on the other person.
yes. Trying to avoid that quite a lot.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
yes. I think
Yeah,
we always feel the pull, don't we?
yeah, right. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I feel
But
that.
trying to
Yeah.
pull away from it and saying, I'm doing myself today, or this weekend, or
Yes.
yes. And
Yeah.
and so I've always shifted the focus from feeling deflated and exhausted, saying, okay, I'm creating this. How do
Mhm.
I how can I be my best friend, the best lover
Mm.
for myself today? Like so yes. So I think that's maybe a gentle, encouraging word.
I like it. I like it. And how can people get in touch with you?
Yes, so people can get in touch with me by finding my website. So my website is my full
I
name,
will put in a
Kirsten
link.
Heynisch.
Well, yeah, we'll put in a link down below. Yeah. So your website.
Excellent. We put a link down below. Yes,
Yes.
and on my
Yes.
website is my email address, and
Yes.
also I'm active on Facebook. I'm currently quite active on Facebook, talking
Yes.
about dating buddies. I'm
Okay.
also on. I probably publish this podcast on YouTube. So yes, social media, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, my
Okay, and we'll
website.
put the links down below. And we'll put the link to our book as well. So if people want to
Wonderful.
read,
Yes.
yeah, read
Yes.
your
Yes.
chapter and yeah, what is creating resilience and how can it serve you in the dating world? And of course, app buddies on the website and maybe join your group program. I feel it's so
Yeah, I'd love
valuable.
to.
And I feel it'll be people coming back, second, third, fourth, and even a fifth time,
Yes.
as
Yes.
much as
Yes.
they need to, and that, have that learner's mindset, that beginner's mindset that, yeah,
Yes. Yes.
one area of
Yes.
your life may be absolutely flourishing, but then another area might need a little
Yes.
bit more, attention and focus. And I feel that that's what you're
Exactly.
helping with dating buddies is, yeah, how are you showing up in the dating world and how can you improve?
Exactly, John. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
awesome. Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you, Kirsten. I really
Thank
appreciate
you, John. That was such a
you.
pleasure
Yeah,
to
that's
talk with you
right.
today.
Really cool.
I did not know that we both on a similar journey. I
Yeah, I
when
think
we
maybe mine's
when I
been
was
nine
writing the
nine months,
chapter,
but 8, 9 months, so very similar.
in 9 months. Yes,
Yeah,
yes. When
yeah,
I
eight,
was
nine
writing
months,
the
something like
chapter
that.
for your
Yes,
book, I
yeah.
didn't realize you were not in a relationship at the time. So
Yeah,
it's
I
so,
wasn't actually.
and
No, I was in
how interesting.
Thailand. I was in post-production for a documentary that I've just released, The Gift in Adversity, and we just released a version of that film on YouTube. So,
Oh,
yeah,
wonderful. I'd love to
there
watch
you
it as
go.
well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So, The Gift in Adversity, featuring Jack
Will we
Canfield.
find it on your YouTube channel or
Yes, you can. Journey of
it,
Riches. Yeah.
oh, excellent. I'm going to have
Yeah,
a
I
look
think
at
you
that.
really enjoy
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Thank you,
Cool.
John.
You're welcome, Kirsten.